Now let the beat ride.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the fourth sports edition of Hi Chicago. How's everybody feeling today? Aaron, my boy, welcome back. Good to see you as usual. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
Solid. Let me get my light up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Kind of dark skin. There we go. Cool. And then I got my boy Dominic in the building. Dom, what's up, homie?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite. And then obviously ready for this football to get started.
I know, bro. In about 35 minutes, we're going to watch the Bears take this
Lose
first
to the
W.
Lions.
No, sir. Take this first W on the way
Watch
to
Man.
TJ
16
Hawkinson
and
run
0.
all over him.
Hey,
Talk.
actually, I got him on my fantasy league.
Matt Stafford for to throw it all around the yard.
No, sir.
Hey,
The
yo.
Bears are going to win this first game. I'm predicting it now, 24-21. Mr. Trubisky, 300 yards, 2 touchdown passes, both to Allen Robinson. A Kyle Fuller interception. Khalil Mack's going to have 2.5 sacks today. You know what I'm saying? But this whole show's not going to be about the Bears, Aaron. So the floor is yours. Whatever you want to talk about, cuz. Fuck you.
Whatever I want to talk about. Anyway, so you guys probably watching the NBA playoffs, and you'll see that the number one seeded Milwaukee Bucks got knocked out by the Miami Heat, and it was not particularly close.
I enjoyed it.
Imagine a number one seed getting beat down the way they did.
I didn't enjoy that.
It's insane. But that brings me to the topic I actually want to bring up, which is the Milwaukee Bucks have a star. His name is Giannis. He's been there now 7 years, I believe.
Okay.
And has seen little to no success. And it sort of mirrors what I saw a lot from LeBron in Cleveland. So we saw LeBron left Cleveland. Do you guys think, and I'm going to start with you, Dom, that Giannis should, a la Anthony Davis last offseason, force his way out of Milwaukee?
And the question is, should he, right?
Should he?
Okay.
Should he?
So I think he shouldn't. So the reason why is I feel like if he goes, I feel like he shouldn't because I know it sounds a little crazy, but
A lot.
Yeah.
I think
Very crazy.
The issue isn't so much the organization. You know, they're very close. They're one step away from the conference finals. And I think the issue will improve itself as Giannis improves his game because just like you mentioned LeBron, what did teams do in the playoffs against LeBron? They packed the middle, they forced him to give up the ball, they forced him to shoot more threes. And if you look at, if we're talking about a superstar player in Giannis, he has some holes in his game that are very costly in playoff situations.
Facts.
So I can agree.
He has, just to compare quick stats, if we're talking about an upper echelon player like a Jordan, a LeBron now, Kobe, they all elevate their game. Their stats are increased in the playoffs. This guy, I was actually surprised to see that this guy actually saw a lower drop off in free throw percentage in the playoffs, points per game, and 3-point percentage.
Okay.
So teams figured that out, and Miami really just played to those strengths and found a solid strategy to shut him down. And he's not at the level to where he can overcome that by himself. And I think they need one more piece for them to be successful in Milwaukee. But the thing is, if he stays in the East, there's no LeBron. So I think the chances of him winning a ring are higher if he stays in the East as well. I don't know what you guys think, but I say he stays because as he improves that, he shot 50% from the free throw line. So that led to how many situations and any time a tie can turn in the game. And hats off to Jimmy, he actually probably did the best defense that we've seen on Giannis in a long time.
Yeah. I agree. So here's my thing, bro, because Aaron, Dom is completely wrong in his entire thought process right now.
I would agree. It's ridiculous.
Okay? So here's the thing, Dom. Everything you said made sense when you're speaking in facts and statistics. So I agree with that. But you got to look at what he's got built around him right now, which is number 2 is Chris Middleton.
Yep.
In no way, shape, or form on this planet will you ever win a ring if Chris Middleton is your number 2. He's a really nice guy. He's a really solid 20 points per game scorer, but he's not what I need to win a championship. That's a fact. Look at this year. Look at last year when he absolutely shrunk. in the playoffs when the lights were the brightest.
Yep.
And you're talking about the East not having LeBron. Okay, no problem. But Boston's going to be a year better next season. You got Miami, who's going to be a year better next season. You got teams like the Bulls, who should rebound and be a little bit better. Indiana's going to be better. Toronto should be better. So I think Milwaukee's time has come and gone when it comes to Giannis trying to win a ring with this Bucks team. The era of people staying for 20 years, it's over with. My shit's dead, cuz.
Well, see, and I agree with you, Sean. And my biggest issue with Milwaukee is how they played this offseason. They had an opportunity to keep a player who's actually pretty well suited to play around Giannis, because Giannis needs shooters. Malcolm Brogdon.
Yep.
And yet they chose not to re-sign him, which I think is it does hurt their case for keeping him. It's the same thing you saw with LeBron. They wouldn't keep talent around him. Keep as much talent around your star player, and you'll be able to keep your star player.
And there's only so much that you can do as a star player to drag shitty players along with you, right? Giannis has a lot on his resume. Don't get me wrong. Giannis has accomplished a lot at the age of 25. He's won an MVP award, probably 2 times.
Probably gonna win it too. Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time All-Star, All-NBA first team. So his Hall of Fame resume is already stacked as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do what most players in the NBA want to do, if not all of them, that's win that ring, bro, he's got to go. He's got to go. LeBron left Cleveland, right? We already mentioned that. Got a ship, came back, but LeBron realized he needed stars around him to win, right? Bosh, Wade, Love, Kyrie. KD left because he couldn't win with Russ anymore, right? Joined Stephen Clay, 2 rings, 2 finals MVPs. You need a borderline Hall of Fame player and a perennial all-star to win a ring this season. Dom, what you got, bro? Not even this season. I'm talking about in general. My bad.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. So I think he should stay, but Milwaukee does need one more piece because, like you mentioned, you have Middleton. Your third option is Brook Lopez, who is inconsistent and hasn't shown to, he hasn't shown to step his game up in the playoffs either. But so I do agree they do need one more piece, but I think it's more realistic for them to stay in Milwaukee and try to bring one more piece to that team versus him going to another team, unless he's going to a Golden State.
Back up that statement, though. Back up that statement. Bringing a player to Milwaukee. That's the biggest issue with why he's not getting anybody. No one wants to come to Milwaukee.
If they got the money, maybe they can attract someone because they're really
They had the money in Indiana. They had the money in Indiana. And yet Paul George never got that guy.
So people are taking less money to go other places now, right? KD did it. Jimmy Butler did it, right? So it's not always about the money.
Right.
Yeah, but my thing is, if he wants a ring fast, then that's the move to make. He's got to leave Milwaukee. But I think that he can win a ring in Milwaukee if he continues to develop his game and they bring one more piece in because, Middleton, I agree, his numbers dropped off in the playoffs too. But he's not a bad number 3. So if they can bring in a high-quality point guard that's got a good three-point shot that can take the pressure off Giannis a little bit, Giannis has to develop that 3 in that free throw game because if he's not going to win clutch, series if he shoots 58% from the free throw line, throughout the series or throughout the playoffs even for that, and he's got to get that game up. Even if he plays with another superstar player, if he doesn't work on that, the strategy to defend him remains the same, and he's not going to be able to overcome that. So I think, if you're talking about an immediate ring like next year or the year after that, he's got to move the team. But I think he can still win in the East with Milwaukee if they bring that other piece in there, though.
Yeah, and for me, I don't believe that there is any way that they get that piece. So that's going to be the biggest problem.
Can I say something that makes sense? Let me talk to my winners for a second here. I'm not talking about you two. I'm talking about the people in the audience that are listening that are winners in life, right? What do we like to do? We like to work smarter and not harder. I don't give a damn about Giannis taking the easy way out or KD taking the easy way out. Go get you a ring as quickly as possible, okay? And then figure everything else out from there, right? And also, there's no such thing to me as taking the easy way out. You still got to play the games. You still got to score. You still got to defend. You still got to coach. Right, but make your life easier. Stop struggling in a shit town like Milwaukee.
Yeah,
no one's coming there, bro. Promise you, Dom. No one's coming there. Giannis, take your talents to Golden State. Take your talents to Miami, to Toronto, to wherever it is that there's already some star players established. and go get you that ring, baby. Okay.
Maybe
Talking about winners,
go to
talking
Denver.
Giannis. Go to Denver. It's a hell of a town, bro. Never been there, but it's a hell of a town. And you got Jokic and you got Murray. Okay. Dom, I like that you love the
that's the
little
ideal
people and the
setup,
little
though.
things, bro, but no.
Yeah, the problem with the NBA is it doesn't have that same semblance of parity that the NFL has, where you can get somebody to come to Green Bay. It's because Green Bay has a history, and your monetary, the way you make money is not so much tied to the market that you're in. It's not tied as much as it was back in the 90s with the NBA, but there's still a semblance of bigger market gets you more money in the NBA. And no stars are going to want to come to Milwaukee because Milwaukee is a very small market. On top of that, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's next to a bigger city. Like we are literally 2 hours away from Milwaukee, and I live in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. So no one wants to be in Milwaukee. And I guarantee most of the people who play for the Milwaukee Bucks, they probably live in Illinois because that's where the better cities are. That's where you can do more shit. And no one wants to be in Milwaukee. That's
facts. And anybody in our audience that's from Milwaukee or visit Milwaukee frequently, like, we apologize for telling you guys the truth, but Milwaukee's a shit town. It's a really shit town. And I'm sorry that I said it.
Yeah. It's got like one street that has like bars on it, and then the rest of it is just
and they don't win anything in Milwaukee. The Brewers don't win anything. The Bucks don't win shit for damn sure. So honestly, those people in Milwaukee are gonna join the Chicago bandwagon no matter what, kind of like you mentioned, Aaron. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. Giannis.
Milwaukee's just a big suburb of Chicago.
Anyway. But Dom, it's cool. I appreciate your thoughts, bro. It makes sense. But nah, you're crazy if you think Giannis shouldn't go.
Right. Now, I do want to ask the question, do you think he will? Does anybody think he will push Milwaukee to trade him?
You heard what he said recently, right?
Well, just the other day, reported that he met because if basically he wanted to discuss, because if they don't make a move, or if they could take the chance of losing him, like if they just play out this last year. And for him, then if we're not, if they're mid-season, they're going to be doing well because they're the Bucks. But then what if you don't win? And then what if you lose him for nothing? And or maybe you could work out a sign and trade for some draft picks back. But he's got an extension on the plate. It looks like upwards of almost $200 million. So
that's super max.
It's a super max.
I think he might stay. That might be enough to sway him to stay. But I don't know. It's tough. Because you never know. We thought the same thing with LeBron. Then out of nowhere, he unfollowed his teammates from social media. It was important too. So I was like, I don't know. It's like that's kind of a bad look.
So no, I'm not rich. You know what I'm saying? Not even close to make anything near what these NBA players make. But I know that because they make so much off the court, like the Supermax isn't as appealing as I think people thought when they first introduced it, right? Because they can make up that money elsewhere for sure. So not only do I think Giannis should leave, ultimately I think he will leave, but he's not going to ask for a trade. He doesn't want to be hated.
Okay.
Per se. I see him more just waiting till his contract runs out, play next season out, see what happens, and then dip from there.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to protect his image, I think. Like
I ultimately think it's gonna be the same. He's gonna just probably play out this next season.
Yes.
Probably gonna be a lot of pressure on him to try to win a championship there in his last season.
Of course.
But I don't think they're going to have the talent around. But speaking of pressure, let's transition to NFL. And let's ask a question that's probably on a lot of people's minds, especially seeing Lamar Jackson last year bowing out with his second time in the playoffs. Let's talk about quarterbacks and which quarterback this season is under the most pressure. And Dom, we'll start with you again.
You said the most pressure. That's a very interesting piece to add to that. Okay.
The most.
So there can only be one right answer, is what you're saying. Okay.
One right answer. I might end up coming up with two because there's the pressure from society and then there's the pressure you put on yourself. Those are two separate things.
I would say society is the most important one.
No, for sure.
For this question.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys might think this is an interesting take, but to me, what's more pressure than potentially losing your job? So because of that, because you're talking about you got to go find another team. And the reason why I'm leading it this way is because I think Trubinsky has the most pressure.
I love his answer already.
I like that
Not
answer.
wrong.
No, I like the answer.
Because just think about it, imagine you're inconsistent. You're in a big city like Chicago, like you mentioned. Chicago is super football, right? Bears fans, super
Facts.
loyal. We've always had we've had a good defense, so the defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl, but we need the consistent offense. And knowing you have Nick Foles behind you, and this man has won a Super Bowl,
That's a
and
big
you've
one.
already played inconsistently, you got to be in there like a little nervous. What if I throw an interception? What if I have a string of bad games? Are they going to sit me? Are they going to bench me for Nick Foles? Or even in the future, if he doesn't play well this year, like how long is he really guaranteed with the Bears? I think he has the potential to do well. He's shown flashes. He can run really well. He needs to
He's
do
gonna
that a
need
little
to
bit
do
more,
that.
I think.
Okay.
And and the Bears have some decent, receivers. They have some decent options on offense. So we got to see what he does this season. But I think he's going to be game by game. If he has a bad game, like we're going to be thinking, like, is he going to be benched? So
is that more internal pressure, Dom, or is that more pressure from the public, from the critics? Because in my mind, internally, yeah, that's a lot of pressure. You got to worry about keeping your job. But does anybody other than maybe me on this planet think Mitch Trubisky's going to last all 16 games?
Oh,
anyway,
no, I don't believe it.
Even publicly, right?
No, like
so is he feeling that pressure then too? Is my question for you, Dom, or is it just internal pressure you're talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he is. Or you could, if you want to go, Aaron. Actually, you could go, Aaron, if you want.
Yeah, but like what he brought up though, Sean, was being in Chicago. Chicago is a big football city. They're a basketball city too. But the thing about it is, yeah, the Bears are still the top dog here. And the crazy thing about it is the Bears, unlike most franchises, haven't actually had a legit franchise QB. And this guy was the second round pick. They have more
second overall pick.
Sorry, second. I don't know.
Yeah, don't disrespect Mr.
Second overall. Status. My bad. He was traded. They traded for the second pick. I don't know why I said second round. It's weird. Second overall pick. No, he should have not been drafted.
But think too, like
that's gotta always be there.
Like Mahomes, Watson went after this guy, so like that's a whole nother thing, the backlash that he could get just from that, because people know this now, and those guys have just emerged into such amazing players and one's already won a Super Bowl. So like, just think about like your class, Yeah, like just think your class. You have like your classmate like constantly outperforming you, or on your team there's that constantly outperforming, and you grew up together, and this guy. He gets drafted behind you, and now he's over here like winning Super Bowls, and you're struggling to, stay 500.
I didn't come on this podcast today, Dom, to be depressed. So if you could stop depressing me right now, that'd be solid.
You brought a Bears fan on here just so he could have your same ideology.
right.
But no, he's right
though. It's true though.
He's right. Like Mitch Trubisky, especially if he does start to not perform for the first few games, there's going to be that thing in the back of his mind and in Bears fans' mind that, hey, maybe we should put the guy that we traded and are paying the most on our team. We should probably play that guy.
Okay. Yeah, because Foles is a proven player too. I mean, he
has a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl.
I get it, but neither options are great. If I'm being completely transparent as a Bears fan, right? And I don't care which one does well, if I'm being also transparent. I just want the Bears as a whole to do well, which is why I don't know if Mitch Trubisky is the right answer when it comes to the most pressure. The person that I have that is under the most pressure is Tom Brady.
Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
Yes. So you're probably thinking, well, he's a 6-time champion, right? Is he really under that much pressure? The answer for me is yes, because he made the choice to leave via free agency, right?
Yep.
Bill could have traded him a couple seasons ago and kept Garoppolo. Robert Kraft wasn't down for that. Robert Kraft wanted to keep Brady. Okay, no problem. Brady decided to leave. Okay, cool. So now for the first time in Brady's career, he's got to prove that he can do it without Bill.
Yeah, there's always that division. Tom Brady. He's a system quarterback. Right. And let's see if once he gets pulled out of that system, if he can perform.
But I also don't think you can become the GOAT strictly on a system. Like I don't see how that's possible at all, right? But again, Tom, you're in the NFC South, so now you're competing against Drew Brees, right, to win that division, an up-and-coming Panthers team, a Falcons team, which you never know which version you're going to get, 11-5, 5-11, wouldn't shock me either way. Tom Brady's got the weapons in Godwin and Gronk and Evans and Fournette to be successful, but against another year older. Offensive line is not that great. But, Tom, the spotlight is on you more than it's ever been, in my opinion, because, again, you don't have Bill Belichick by your side. Now, luckily for me, I have faith in Tom Brady.
Okay.
That he's going to win the division, going to make it to the Super Bowl, going to prove all the haters wrong. But if Tom Brady and the Bucs start off 2-6, what are you going to think?
Yeah. I dig that.
He's locked up.
It's going to be scary.
You watch your mouth when you say that shit, Dom.
And when I see, and I already told you in my last episode how I feel about Tom Brady in this new system, that it's going to be rocky to start. I don't think he's going to just come out on fire. So we're going to see how it goes over the entire season, but I do truly think that you're overrating the Bucs just a little bit.
You can't overrate any team that Tom Brady quarterbacks. Like, you can't, right? I'm never going to disrespect Tom.
Okay.
Ever.
So, yeah. So my answer, and I was thinking of which way I wanted to take this, and ultimately I did land on Lamar Jackson. And my reasoning for Lamar Jackson is cool. You come out your first year, you go 6-1 as a starter, you make it to the playoffs. It seems like the Chargers have figured you out. They play more DBs. They play 5 DBs on most of their defensive sets, and you don't win your first playoff game. Cool. That can be a blip in a row. He was a rookie. This is his first time seeing this. Second year, you come out on fire. You win the MVP. You're the best quarterback in the NFL this year. You have the best team in the NFL. And then you fall flat against the Tennessee Titans,
who made it to the AFC Championship game, so let's not shit on them completely.
Right, they made it to the AFC Championship game by beating that Ravens team, though.
Right.
So let's calm down. He looked shit. The team looked shit in that game, and I think this year it'll be more pressure than he's ever faced, probably in his entire career, just to try to make it to not even the Super Bowl, just make it to Championship Sunday. Just to make it to Championship Sunday, because he's never won a playoff game. Right now, everyone's saying that he's a good regular season quarterback, but once the pressure comes on and he has to throw the ball, because that's the thing you hear the most, he has to throw the ball. When he's got to make those throws, he doesn't come up big. And right now, I think that it's unfair to say that about him, because the Tennessee Titans just had their number in that game. That's all I can see in that. All right, he was making some throws. A lot of their third down woes was sort of what hurt them a lot in that game. But ultimately, I think that this year will be the most important year of his career, and that's even going forward, because he has to win a playoff game. Plain and simple. If he does not win a playoff game, he's just going to be labeled as that guy who can win in the regular season but can't win when shit gets tough.
Here's why I
disagree.
But I want to hear if Dom disagrees also, because obviously you didn't pick Lamar Jackson, you picked Mr. Trubisky. So why is he wrong about this Lamar Jackson pick?
Well, I mean, I definitely think there's some pressure. I just think that Trubisky has more pressure, but Lamar Jackson, like I agree actually with Lamar Jackson, because it has to be playoff win or bust, Super Bowl or bust. So I mean, whenever you're expected to win, or be contending for a championship, I feel like there's always going to be pressure. I think he's going to rise to the pressure though, because I've seen him develop in his throwing game, and I think with the weapon he already has with his feet, I think he's going to alleviate any pressure this year. I think he's going to, definitely make it to probably, if not the Super Bowl, the conference finals.
So my thing is, right, Lamar Jackson is this is his third year?
Yeah. Year 3.
Okay. Year 3, right? And he's been healthy so far, right? For the most part, right? Proven win in the regular season. Okay, no problem. Right. Yes, he stumbled in the playoffs. I get that too. But as far as this specific season goes, if the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl, I can promise you he'll still have a lot of pressure on him next season and the season after that and the season after that. So my point is he's got a long career ahead of him.
But if he doesn't win a playoff game though, Sean,
so if he wins, let's say they're a wild card team and he wins the wild card round. Okay, great. Is that season successful for him in your mind because they won one playoff game?
No, I wouldn't call it successful, but
exactly.
At least he'd be moving forward. Because as of right now, he's a guy who wins in the regular season but can't win in the playoffs.
Right, but you're telling me that, okay, you want him to win a playoff game. That's your measure of success for Lamar Jackson, is to win a game. You didn't say the big game. You said a game. So how is that being filled more pressure than Tom Brady, who's got to not only make the playoffs, but go far in the playoffs, was probably his last or second to last season in the NFL, period.
Well, because here's the thing. I think that people would label Tom Brady making it to the championship game as a success.
Right, but let's say they're a wild card team. They'd have to win 2 more games prior to getting to that point. And if they lose in the wild card round, is the season successful? No. Divisional round loss successful? No. Tom Brady has to go far with this team in order for it to be deemed successful. Lamar Jackson just has to win a playoff game in any round for it to shake that caveat.
I think Lamar Jackson too. He hasn't been in the league long enough to where people are ready to give up on him. Like if he didn't win a playoff game, let's just say he made the playoffs and they lost. Because I think he still made strides in his performance, and I think Ravens fans still are with him. Like if even if he didn't win the Super Bowl this year, I think he doesn't have as much pressure as Brady, or someone fighting for their job. Because the thing is, like Brady, okay, he has so many championships already that if he doesn't win a championship, he's already at that point of his career where he's gonna walk away soon, right? And people already have that image of him as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's a proven winner, so I don't think he has like anyone's doubt in him as far as
with Bill, bro. That is the one thing that people throw in Brady's face all the damn time. Is it's always been with Bill.
So he wants to, at this point, it's more about pride at this point because he wants to prove everyone wrong. Same thing with Cam Newton. Cam Newton might have a lot of pressure too because he's going into a proven winning system, and that's consistently won, and the fans are used to winning. So now he has to perform. So I would even argue that Newton has more pressure than Lamar Jackson, just because of what he's going into.
Okay.
Newton's been.
I don't agree.
So close, he's been so close, but
the hopes for Cam Newton are not the same as the hopes for Lamar Jackson. I cannot say they're under the same. They're not under the same pressure.
There is some pressure on Cam Newton. I like that random name that was thrown out there. I like the name. Not the most,
right?
But I do like the name.
No, not the most, but I would just say he's another one that might even have more pressure than some of the other quarterbacks. But I think Lamar Jackson, he's so young, so much potential.
Exactly.
And I don't think he has as much pressure.
We're saying this here, like on this podcast, as people who watch the NFL. And we don't have a bias against running quarterbacks. You see people who played in the NFL who even have a problem with Lamar Jackson, who have an issue with him.
He shut all them up last week as far as his playing, or last year as far as his playing style goes. He shut all them up.
Right, but he didn't though because he didn't win in the playoffs. That's still the narrative around him, is that he can't win in the playoffs. And he's got to shake that. I think that amount of pressure just to win a playoff game is kind of ridiculous. But there was another name I wanted to bring up, and I'll bring it up because we got a little extra time. I'll make this one quick though. The other quarterback that I had in mind is the one who plays in Green Bay, and it's Aaron Rodgers. And my reason is it's more internal pressure. Okay. It's more internal pressure than it is external societal pressure.
Okay.
Your team goes out this past year. They look at what you did. You had a 13-3 season. You made it to the conference championship game. And yet and still this last year, you had no weapons. And what did they do? In the first round, they draft a guy who's supposed to be eventually your replacement. In the second round, they get a guy who actually is listed as their third string running back.
Okay.
And they go and get a guy who's going to play fucking H-back. A fullback. They got a goddamn fullback with their third round pick. That's what they did with their first 3 picks. Instead of grabbing a wide receiver in one of the most wide receiver heavy drafts that we've seen.
Facts.
Considering Aaron Rodgers had one receiver who actually was reliable and had a second receiver. His second receiver was 4 different guys throughout the season. And his team looked at it and said, we probably don't need to get you any weapons. We're going to get the guy who's going to replace you. We're going to get That's what we're going to do. We're going to get the guy that's going to replace you. We're thinking about the future. We're not thinking about the right now. We're not thinking about what you can do this next season. And now this entire season is going to be for Aaron Rodgers a huge fuck you. It's going to be just a huge fuck you. He's going to go out there and play his heart out, but I feel like he's put so much internal pressure on himself that's why he was going to be my pick. But then ultimately, when I thought about it, there's no societal pressure. There's really none. The guy's done look like the last 10 years has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And we saw that when they announced the 2010s all-decade team. He was the second quarterback listed. So there's no societal pressure, but that internal pressure does give some sort of pressure that he's sort of facing, if that makes any sense.
Don, what you think, bro?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, yeah, he's moving towards that point in his career where he's at the latter stage of his career. So, the organization, they have to get ready for the future, but it sucks for Rodgers because he feels that he could still win a championship, and then that kind of may lead to another question I wanted to ask is, do you think maybe we would see him ever leave Green Bay? Kind of like a Brett Favre type of thing.
I would hope not, but I think that the writing's on the wall with what they did this past offseason.
He'll be the Bears quarterback come next season.
I would hope not.
I'm almost positive, and I'll take that in a second.
But keep in mind, he can only be through trade, and the Packers would never trade him to the Bears.
When is his contract up?
In 3 years. Yeah, they just signed him to a new contract last season. I don't know if you missed that.
I did.
Yeah,
I don't keep up with all things Green Bay, so
no, I understand it, but yeah, that's another reason. It's like you re-sign this guy. He's the face of your franchise. He's taking up $33 million annually, but you don't get him weapons to win the next year. And so, yeah, it's like Green Bay just said, "Fuck you. We're gonna build for the future. Do whatever you can with what we have out here." But after this season, we probably won't want you, and we'll probably trade you to some team in the AFC.
The Bears.
Definitely not the Bears.
But anyway, so I can see the pressure being on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's the most. I do think it's mostly internal. But if the Packers were to go 7-9, would critics shit all over them? I don't think so.
No, they're gonna say Rodgers didn't have the weapons.
Exactly.
But for him, he's gonna be pissed because his team basically left him for dead.
So fingers crossed the Packers go 7-9, 6-10, 5-11.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Anyway, that's about all we have time for though today. Thank you guys, especially you, Dom. Thanks for the insight. Appreciated everything that you brought here.
Yes, sir. Sean, Bears 16-0, Super Bowl, Super Bears, baby.
Sean still thinks that's a thing. I don't know why. Bears. But hey, guys, if you guys can give us some feedback, let us know who you think is under the most pressure. Do you think Giannis should leave his team? Or will he leave his team? And please like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, peace.